everyone. Hi, and welcome to the next session of this day. And for this session, I would like to invite my colleague Tejaswini Vaidiya, who is joining us from Singapore. Hi, Tejas. Good evening.
Hi, Daria. Good afternoon.
Hi. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Well, Tejas is going to cover today the topic of sustainable portfolio management. She will also introduce you our brand for sustainable products, ECOWISE Choice. With saying that, I would like to hand over to you, Tejas, and everyone. We are waiting for your questions. Thank you and enjoy the presentation.
Thanks, Daria, for the lovely introduction. And thank you, everyone, for registering and joining us today for our talk. The next 30 minutes, we will talk about the approach allnex has adopted to steering our portfolio to a better sustainability profile, and EcoWise, which is the outcome of the process. Right. But before we go into the details of it, let's take a step back and to understand why sustainable portfolio management is so important to meet our collective sustainability targets. At a high level, if we look at the scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3 emissions of a specialty chemicals company, scope 1 and scope 2 were perhaps somewhere around 10 to 15%, and the bulk of the contribution comes from the raw materials that we use and also how the products are used by our customers and the downstream players in the value chain. And thus, we've been focusing on all our efforts on optimizing the raw materials that we use in terms of improving the renewable content, using recycled material, and especially using substance or chemicals of no concern. And at the same time, we develop technologies that can increase the longevity of a coated object, reduce waste, enable recycling, and also improve energy efficiency, both for our customers as well as in application via lower application energy. And as you can see, these initiatives link nicely with the 5 sustainability pillars of allnex, which is the core and the focus of our sustainability program. And in turn, they allow us to achieve our objectives through our SPM program as well. Okay, second. So to follow through, then back in 2019, we started our sustainable portfolio management process, which is a structured and a robust methodology. Through the SPM process, we aim to categorize our products by analyzing the sustainability benefits and challenges using a fact-based methodology. This is a global tool that is used internally by all the regions and by all the BUs, and setting the bar really high for us to achieve via our portfolio. And this all comes together with our tagline, Be EcoWise. Be EcoWise is our answer to the increased demand for sustainability efforts from our customers and from the market. Okay. So let's take a look at the 5 pillars again. We have we approach this in 2 aspects. One aspect would be the things that we want to reduce or eliminate, and the other aspect would be the things that we want to improve. In terms of the things that we want to reduce, would be of most importance would be chemicals of concern, and we want to replace the chemicals with safer materials. If you look at emissions, we aim to design our products to have zero or very low VOCs in application. Along the side of the things that we want to improve, we have energy efficiency, and as we discussed, both for our customers as well as how the product is used in terms of the application energy. Talking about renewable sourcing, we are looking at products with renewable plant-based feedstocks coming from non-virgin fossil feedstocks that would be our recycled materials. And also, we're also looking at technologies that are enabled by carbon capture. The third aspect is circularity. And we all know that circularity is a rather broad term. But at allnex, we've tried to define it in under areas that we can actually have an impact in terms of circularity. That those being improving the durability of products, reducing the usage and waste, as well as enabling recyclability. And these three elements with our circular economy, renewable sourcing, and energy efficiency form the core of circularity at allnex. Yeah. And so in essence, where do we apply SPM? We apply it to our commercial products as well as to the products that are under in our innovation pipeline. It is a continuous improvement process. So that which is designed such that it evolves along with the market needs and expectations. So as new regulations come in, what we've assessed as ECOWISE is also updated. And the outcome of the process is the portfolio ECOWISE, categorized as ECOWISE choice and ECOWISE value. And to give you a high level view of how the process works, let's say we start with a commercial product, right? First, we check the product against internal criteria that we've set based on industry regulations and trends in the market. Once we have ascertained that there are no sustainability issues identified with this product, we compare it with a market reference for the target application. And this is a very important step because we want to ensure that in terms of performance, the product is comparable or better than than the reference in the market for the application. And to add here, we always assess a product in the context of the application that it can be used in. At the same, and then once this is ascertained, we identify what are the benefits that this product brings, and this is also defined by the 5 pillars that we have. In the end, the product that qualifies and meets all these standards is classified as ECOWISE choice. And ECOWISE choice is designed such that it meets and or even exceeds the most stringent standards set, global standards set, and also the requirements by eco labels. And the ECOWISE value brings a significant proposition along one or more pillars of allnex. Yeah. Um, Towards, I think, in perhaps in last year, we started our launch for the ECOWISE portfolio, and we started with segments where we saw the most demanding requirements and the most interest from the market. The first one we launched was for industrial wood and building and decorative. And earlier this year, we launched our portfolio for packaging and inks. I'll walk you through first our portfolio for industrial wood. Industrial wood, if we look at the segments or the applications of wood, it would be furniture, flooring, kitchen cabinets. Even though it is an industrial context, it is used in areas where people live. So it is very important that we ensure that these products do not harm the indoor air quality and make our living spaces better. So one of the criterias that we've looked at for wood are all the different categories of substances of concern. So in the list here, you see the CMR categories, which are the carcinogenic, mutagenic, and reproductive categories. We have BPA free, formaldehyde, including not having any formaldehyde releasers, APEO free, and all the products that we've shortlisted can be formulated with a VOC of less than 100 grams per liter. Uh, from the portfolio of allnex, we have these are some of the featured products across our technologies. So you see there are products from our crosslinkers portfolio to waterborne, UV radiation curing, including 100% UV and waterborne UV, as well as our powder coating resins. Now I would like to show you an example of one of the products is under ECOWISE choice for industrial wood. Here you see UC code 7999, which is a bio-based energy curable polyurethane dispersion. It is not only tint-free and APO-free, but it also has a carbon content of around 22%. And on the performance aspect, it provides excellent hardness and durability for both clear and white coats. And it can be formulated to an extremely low VOC product without requiring any co-solvents. And here you see that one of the key value proposition, in addition to the others that the product brings, is the renewable content. And moving on to our buildings and decorative portfolio. Here again, the utmost importance is indoor air quality, and which is cannot be compromised on. And you can see that we have products that can be applied in the various applications for in buildings, going from up the broad walls to decorative wood, trim and joinery, architectural extrusions, general metal, and the metal facades. And depending upon the application that the product is intended for, we have different technologies catering to the performance requirements. And in addition to safer materials, these products have a proposition along energy efficiency or circularity, or even bringing in low VOCs. Next, let's look into our portfolio for packaging and inks. Now, packaging can be a very broad topic. So here so within allnex, I'm sorry about that. So within allnex, we have looked at applications that we have focused down on where we would like to look at. So we have products for adhesives, for ink and inkjet resins, for preparation and top coat resins that are used for metal packaging, flexible packaging, and paper and board. One of the important things about packaging, as we've all realized, is circularity. Given the volumes that are used, we have made sure we have a criteria that any product that qualifies for ECOWISE choice for packaging should have an element of circularity associated with it. And this could be either by bringing in energy efficiency, or having a carbio or a renewable content, or by enabling a reduction in waste. Of course, this comes on top of the other criteria that we have in terms of removing substances of concern, as well as reducing emissions. Um, and here again, we have a broad portfolio of products that qualify across the technologies that allnex is active in, including powder resins, radiation curing, polyurethane dispersions, waterborne acrylics, and water dilutable polyesters. And to give you another specific example, we have I'm showing an example for polyurethane dispersion, and the two products qualify here, the Dowton 7000 and the Dowton 6425. And both of them can be formulated for inkjet applications for flexible packaging, and they can be cured at ambient temperatures. And in terms of performance, they give higher shear stability and good pigmentation as well. On the sustainability side, they definitely have safer materials, and they're also produced in an energy efficient process, which contributes to energy efficiency. And with that, I come to the end of our talk around the SPM and ECOWISE. And please let me know if you have any questions. We would be happy to answer them.
Thank you very much, Tejas, for presenting. And yes, we have questions in our pool, and I would like to start with the first one. Tejas, can you please explain the 5 pillars of sustainability a bit more? Especially the 3 of them: renewable sourcing, energy efficiency, and circular economy. our audience would like to know how are they connected to circularity?
Thank you. That's a good question, especially given how broad the topic of circularity can be. So, if we look at the principle of circularity, we are talking about having things being in use for as long as possible. And when they come towards the end of life, we want to find a second life for these products, either through recycling or extracting value. So there you see that if we start from our raw materials, we, any efforts we make towards not using virgin fossil based raw materials through plant based or recycled or carbon capture, they all contribute to a circular economy. At the same time, the way we design the products to improve the performance, and for coatings, the primary objective is also durability in addition to aesthetics, of course. So, so that is why we have circularity there. And, and looking at energy efficiency, if we are able to achieve what our objective by minimizing the energy required, that is a significant contributor to circularity. And that is why you see that the three pillars are grouped under circularity.
Very good. Thank you for taking this one. And the next one, what specific, I will rephrase the question a bit, what specific regulations did you consider in your internal standards when considering raw material ingredients?
Thank you again. That's a good question. So we have first looked at all the categories of substances coming from what has been categorized as CMR, what has been categorized as substances of very high concern, or substances of a bioaccumulative. Yeah, and the regulations we've looked at, we've looked at what are the OECD countries asking for. So that would include countries from the EU, from US, as well as Asia. And in addition to that, we have looked at what are the eco labels asking for. And in the context of buildings and decorative and industrial wood, we have certain eco labels stand out, such as the Nordic Swan or the UL Green Guard, and even certain industry players like IKEA have set requirements or sustainability requirements that we have considered.
Thank you very much for this answer. The next question, how do you manage the phase out of raw materials that do not longer meet our criteria for safe materials, such as timing for phase out, priority, change management at customers, and so on?
Indeed, that is not an easy option. In the or that the one aspect of it, of course, is us doing the due diligence as to identifying and making sure we have products in place that our customers can use as the regulations come in. But at the same time, we should be ready, and we should be able to convince our customers that the alternative is as good, so that to minimize their business risk. So it, as you can imagine, and we have and we follow a process also allowing us to take a voluntary ban. So when if we see of certain products coming under scrutiny, we are already developing products as to exclude them. So and then next is the change management process, of course, where we have to show customers.
Understood. Thank you so much for answering. And the next question, what is allnex? What do we do to get ahead of PFAS crisis?
That is that is a very interesting question. I can touch upon it briefly here, but in
Mhm.
the end, I would leave it to I would in fact forward this question to our technical experts who will be able to give you a better answer on it. But I think around the topic of PFAS or PFAS, it is quite important to understand the impact that our products would be having with these products. So any product and which application is it being used in? What is the exposure levels that people have with these products? and accordingly, then we can design products to minimize the risk.
Thank you for taking this one. And the next one, why do you consider nanoparticles as emissions?
Um, I'll start with why nanoparticles, and this again, of we can. It is also a respiratory risk as well, and we have considered this requirement coming from eco labels. And of course, there is a strict definition also as to what is nanoparticles, and there are certain components included and also excluded under nanoparticles. So there is a lot of detail, of course, behind this, which I would really be happy to come back to you on with the complete literature on our approach to nanoparticles. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you for this one. And the next one, do you also look into biodegradability?
Yes, the answer is yes. It is definitely in our pipeline. But and at the same time, and in fact, a couple of our talks, I think today or also focus on the aspect of biodegradability. But also having said that, biodegradability for the final product comes from various elements, and there we are trying to push the boundaries as much as possible with our product. But in the end, it has to be the complete formulation or the complete product that needs to be biodegradable.
Wonderful. The next question, Tejas, which resin type has the largest amount of bio-based content, and what is this amount about? How much is that?
Um, we have a range. I mean, of course, you asked for the highest. In the presentation today, I think we touched upon the UV PUD, which has around 22%. And but there are other products in the portfolio which can go much higher. There are commercial products available around which can be as high as 50% bio-based content. And in one of the talks, you will also, which is based on the bio-based portfolio, you will see that higher percentages are possible through our new launches.
Wonderful. And we go to the next question. Do you have carbon footprint number for new products versus existing products?
That is an effort that we would focus on.
Mhm.
And if you've heard Davies talk just before this talk, we are working towards having a carbon footprint number for all our products. And for any new development, as we consider alternate raw materials, we will include carbon footprint of the alternate raw material as one of the criteria, because then that is one of the justifications also as to why we are making the switch. Mm.
Thank you, Tejas. The next question about the ECOWISE Choice products. Are all the ECOWISE Choice products that you have shown for packaging, are they suitable for food contact?
There are a few that have food contact, but indirect food contact and also direct food contact approvals.
Mhm.
And the details are available in our product guide and also on our website. But and again, this is also exactly which product it is. I'll be happy to get back to you on with more details about the product.
And the next one is ECOWISE a third party that allnex brought into the game to improve our sustainability field?
Um, we have in designing our process, we have looked at what people in the industry are doing. So we have referred to the documents prepared by the other players in the industry. We also invited a consulting firm to look at our process and our governance structure and give us feedback on for improvements. And we have also referred to documents by organizations like the World Business Council for Sustainability development as to what they advocate the best practice should be. And but ECOWISE Choice is definitely an allnex brand. Yeah.
Indeed. Next, we move to the next question. What is the difference between ECOWISE Choice and ECOWISE Value products?
ECOWISE Choice would be the highest standard. So these they meet all the stringent requirements. You can use these products for to meet the requirements of an eco label. Whereas on ECOWISE value, it would have a significant proposition along one or more of the five pillars. For example, if you're looking for a product which has a bio-based content of say 60%, that would be under ECOWISE value. But having said that, the first two criteria in terms of substances of concern that we've put in, all ECOWISE products meet those criteria. It is just slight differentiation as to what is the value that an ECOWISE value product brings.
Thank you for taking this one. And we move to the next. We still have time for a couple of questions. Is there a published list of ECOWISE products on our website?
Yes, there is.
Yes.
So in our on our website, and if you go into the product finder, one of the filters we have is ECOWISE Choice, and this has all the list of all the products that we have launched as being ECOWISE Choice. And as we go forward and continue with the assessments of our entire portfolio, you will see more products being added in there for applications that we have not discussed today.
Thank you. And we move to the next. Are you working on EcoWise Choice products for other segments? Do you plan to enhance the product portfolio with EcoWise Choice in the near future?
Yes. So as we complete our exercise to assess the entire portfolio of allnex, this would also include products for applications beyond the industrial wood, buildings, and packaging. It would include products for industrial metal, for automotive, for tires per se. And the reason why these three segments were launched first, because we saw an increased demand from our customers and from the others in the value chain to understand what is possible and what can be offered at the moment. And also you can imagine that these are segments that have the highest consumer impact at this point. Yeah.
Thank you for that. And we have still time for the rest of the questions. Are microplastics grouped with nanoparticles or considered separately for our vision of sustainability?
It is a question that can be debated, and we can spend a good a good hour on this question as to what is microplastics and how are microplastics defined, and of course, as you may know, that this topic is also being highly debated otherwise. But what I can do is we can publish what we have considered as nanoparticles in terms of the definition and what is included and what is excluded. So that will help you, definitely help you make an informed decision.
Thank you. And I would like to ask the last question for today. Is EcoWise choice mentioned in our TDS?
Again, a great question. Yes, it is. And for products that we have qualified as EcoWise for the three segments, in our TDS, we do have our EcoWise label, as well as a sentence on on the segments that it has been assessed for.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Tejas, for answering the questions. Thank you for dialing in. I wish you a wonderful evening in Singapore, a hot evening in Singapore. Thank you very much, everyone, for being active today, for asking your questions. In case you would like to get in touch with Tejas, you can do that. You can send her a message, email her, or contact or schedule a meeting with her. Well, with saying that, let me conclude this session, and we will have now a short break, and we will see each other at 3 p.m. European time in the next session. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the day with us. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.